Tell me, does this feeling sound familiar? When the phone stays silent a little longer than usual, and visits from children or grandchildren become less frequent, not because they love you less, but simply because they have their own lives, so fast-paced, so demanding. And in this silence, the thought sometimes creeps in. Who will be there to lean on if something happens? Family is our foundation, our fortress, without a doubt. But let's be honest with each other. As we age, our support system needs additional pillars. Why? Simply because life changes. Children grow up. They have their own worries, their own families, their own distances. Our own strength and health are not what they were at 40, and sometimes we need a different kind of support, one that's always close by, one that doesn't depend on someone else's schedule or mood. We often, out of habit, rely solely on family, like it's the only wall in the house, and we don't notice how that wall starts to bear too much weight, and we ourselves start to feel vulnerable or even like a burden. We unconsciously fall into the trap of expectation, like passengers on a platform waiting for a train that might be delayed. This dependence, this focus solely on relatives, that's what can subtly undermine our peace of mind and confidence. But I'm here today to tell you, you have incredible strength and the opportunity to build an entire support system around yourself, one that is just as strong, and in some ways, perhaps even more stable and accessible than family ties in their modern rhythm. I promise you that after our conversation, you will see simple, accessible steps for everyone, steps that will help you feel more confident, energetic, and joyful every day. No complex theories, just practical, experience-tested advice. Stay with me until the end, and let's build these reliable pillars for your well-being together. Reviving friendships, your personal circle of trust. The first, and perhaps most obvious but often forgotten pillar, is true, deep friendship. I'm not talking about casual acquaintances, but about those people with whom you can be yourself, with whom you share common memories, values, or interests. Replace passively waiting for calls from relatives with actively cultivating friendships. Let me tell you about Eleanor. She's 72, a wonderful woman, raised 2 children who adore her but live in different states. Eleanor was always the life of the party, but after retiring and her children moving away, her social circle shrank to infrequent phone calls and visits, maybe twice a year. She started to feel, a bit like furniture in an old house, needed, loved, but mostly just sitting there in silence. She often caught herself thinking, I won't call them. They have their own things going on. Why impose? A feeling of loneliness and even slight resentment built up inside, although logically she understood everything. It felt awkward at her age to look for new friends or bother old ones. It was an internal struggle between the desire for connection and the fear of seeming intrusive or pathetic. One day, she accidentally ran into her former colleague, Mary, with whom she had once worked and been friends. They got talking, and Eleanor, overcoming her hesitation, suggested meeting for coffee. That first meeting was a bit stiff, but then it was like a dam broke. They reminisced about the past, laughed until they cried, shared their current joys and worries. Eleanor suddenly realized that Mary was experiencing similar feelings. It was such a relief to be understood on a completely different level than with her children, who, despite all their love, simply couldn't know what it's like to live at her age, with her experience. After that, Eleanor became bolder. She called an old school friend, joined a gardening club at the local library. Physiologically, what happened? Her stress hormone levels, cortisol, decreased, while the production of endorphins and oxytocin, hormones of joy and bonding, increased from the live, warm interaction. Psychologically, she stopped feeling dependent on her children's moods and plans. She found her own independent source of warmth and support. Imagine, friendship is like a garden. If you don't water it, don't tend to it, it will wither. But put in a little effort, and it will bloom magnificently, giving you fragrance and beauty regardless of the weather outside. The benefit to you is obvious. It not only chases away loneliness, but also provides a sense of belonging, joy, and stimulates mental activity through conversation and exchange of opinions. You feel like a vibrant, interesting person again, not just someone's mother or grandmother. So, don't wait. Think about who warmed your soul in the past, call them, write to them, or take a step towards new acquaintances. Your support circle is waiting for you. Passion and hobbies, fuel for the soul and mind. The second powerful pillar is your interests, your passions, the things that light a spark in your eyes. Often, upon retirement or with changing life circumstances, we lose our usual routine and start to get bored. Replace aimlessly sitting in front of the TV or endless household chores with an activity that brings you genuine pleasure. Let's recall Arthur. He's 68. All his life, he was an engineer, a man of action, a highly respected specialist. Upon retiring, he felt useless. His wife tried to get him moving, suggesting one thing or another. He brushed everything off. That's all nonsense. I don't have the energy for that. Who needs this? Deep down, he felt an emptiness that work used to fill. His self-esteem, strongly tied to his professional achievements, faltered. He became irritable, apathetic. The habit of being constantly busy and in demand was replaced by a sense of meaninglessness. He remembered how he used to enjoy wood carving in his youth, but now it seemed trivial, childish. Is that really an activity for a grown man, he thought, sitting in his armchair and looking out the window. One day, his grandson asked for help making a birdhouse for a school project. Arthur initially resisted, but then his hands remembered on their own. The smell of wood, the sound of tools, the focused work. It all awakened something long forgotten within him. The birdhouse turned out wonderfully, and his grandson was thrilled. But most importantly, Arthur felt a long-forgotten satisfaction from creating. He dug out his old tools, bought some wood, and slowly started carving simple figures, then more complex ones. He signed up for a local woodworking course where he met other passionate people. What happened? His brain received a new, interesting task. It's like a workout for muscles, but for neural connections. His fine motor skills and concentration improved. Psychologically, he found a new field for self-realization, a new source of pride in himself. His mood improved noticeably. He became more active, more sociable. A hobby isn't just a way to kill time. It's like starting a small engine inside yourself that generates energy, joy, meaning, and satisfaction. It's your personal source of inspiration, independent of anyone else. It could be anything: gardening, knitting, painting, learning a new language, playing a musical instrument, photography, cooking, volunteering. The main thing is that it comes from the heart. What once brought you joy? Or what have you always dreamed of doing but never had the time? Now is the time. Fan that ember of passion into a bright flame. The power of community, feeling part of a whole. The third pillar is active participation in the life of your local community. We often shut ourselves within four walls, especially if we live alone. Replace this isolation with involvement in what's happening around you. Listen to Margaret's story. She's 75. After her husband's death, she felt lost and very lonely. Her children lived far away, called regularly, but it couldn't fill the emptiness of her days. She almost stopped leaving the house, except to go to the store. It seemed to her that her life was over, that she had become invisible to the world. One day, she saw an announcement in the local newspaper. The library was looking for volunteers to help organize children's events. Margaret's first thought was, "Oh no, that's not for me. I'm too old. What could I possibly do to help?" She was afraid of seeming out of place, awkward. The habit of solitude and quiet created a barrier that seemed insurmountable. But something inside pushed her. She remembered how much she loved reading to her children, how she liked the atmosphere of the library. With great effort, she called and offered her help. At first, it was a little scary and unfamiliar, but she was welcomed very warmly. She started helping organize readings for toddlers, then began leading a small craft group for seniors. And suddenly, she felt needed again. The children's smiles, the gratitude of other visitors, the conversations with fellow volunteers. All of this filled her days with meaning and warmth. Physiologically, a sense of belonging to a group, social activity reduced the risk of depression and even improved cognitive function. Psychologically, she stopped feeling isolated. She became part of something bigger than her own apartment. She found a social role again, one that brought satisfaction. Imagine a stream flowing into a river. By itself, it's small, but by becoming part of the river, it gains strength and direction. Similarly, by engaging in community life, you become stronger and feel more confident. This could be participating in interest clubs, attending lectures, volunteering at a hospital, school, or animal shelter, participating in events organized by the local seniors council or cultural center. Look around you. Your community needs your experience, wisdom, and warmth. Take a step towards it, and you'll be surprised how much support and joy you find there. A bridge between generations, exchanging wisdom and energy. The fourth, very important pillar is establishing connections with people of other generations, not necessarily relatives. We often stick to our peer group, but interacting with younger people can be incredibly enriching. Replace a potential feeling of alienation from the modern world with active interaction. Here's David's story. He's 70. He often grumbled about these young people with their gadgets, feeling a bit outdated. His grandchildren were teenagers, and it seemed to him they had nothing in common. He retreated into his own world, nostalgically remembering the good old days. He found it difficult to understand their interests, their language, their music. A feeling of a gap between generations grew inside him, and he didn't know how to bridge it. He was used to being the one who teaches, and now he felt incompetent in many modern things. One day, a neighbor's son, a college student named Michael, asked David to help him with a history project about life in the city 50 years ago. David was skeptical at first. What interesting things can I tell him? But he started remembering, showing old photos, telling stories from his youth. Michael listened with genuine interest, asking questions. And then, in turn, Michael showed David how to use a smartphone for video calls with family, how to search for information online. A miracle of exchange happened. David felt not just like an old man, but like a bearer of valuable history, a respected person. And interacting with Michael helped him better understand the modern world, feel part of it. Physiologically, learning new things, even just new phone features, stimulates the brain, maintains its plasticity. Psychologically, it breaks down stereotypes, both yours about youth and theirs about the older generation, gives a feeling of relevance, connection to life. It's like a bridge across the river of time. Wisdom and experience flow in one direction, and fresh energy and new knowledge flow in the other. Both banks become richer. You could become a mentor for a young professional, help a school child with homework, sign up for computer courses taught by students, or simply interact more often with young neighbors, shop assistants, service workers, with interest and openness. Don't be afraid of the age difference. Open the door to communication with those who are younger. You'll be surprised how much you can give each other. It offers a fresh perspective on life. Self-care, your greatest asset. The fifth pillar of support is perhaps the most important, but also the most difficult for many of us. Proactive, conscious care for your own health, physical and mental. We are used to taking care of others, often forgetting ourselves. Replace a passive attitude towards your well-being, grin and bear it, it's just age, with the stance of actively managing your health. Remember Susan, she's 65. She had always been the pillar for the whole family, husband, children, grandchildren. Her own ailments, fatigue, aching joints, sleep problems, she attributed to age and overexertion. Going to the doctor seemed selfish to her. Everyone has their problems. I won't bother anyone with my aches and pains. She was used to being strong, the one who solves problems, not creates them. The thought of admitting her vulnerability, asking for help from medical professionals, caused her internal discomfort. She put it off until the last minute, until one day, severe back pain simply prevented her from getting out of bed. Only then, at her daughter's insistence, did she consult a specialist. It turned out that her problems were quite solvable with timely intervention. She was prescribed treatment, given a set of exercises, and advised to change her diet. Susan started regularly doing therapeutic exercises in a group for seniors, paid more attention to her diet, and found time for rest. And what do you think? A couple of months later, she felt like a completely different person. She had more energy, the pain lessened, her sleep improved. Physiologically, the right treatment, movement, and nutrition directly improved her condition. Psychologically, she felt in control of her life, stopped feeling like a victim of age and circumstances. She realized that self-care is not selfishness, but a necessity that allows her to remain active and independent longer, and therefore, be less of a burden to her loved ones in the long run. Your body and mind are your most valuable resource. Treat them like a wise investor. Invest time and attention in prevention, regular checkups, healthy habits. Don't hesitate to seek help from doctors or psychologists if you feel the need. This is your responsibility to yourself. It's like taking care of your own house. If you touch up the paint, repair the roof, and maintain the utilities in time, it will serve you well for a long time and be a reliable shelter. Your health is the foundation of your well-being and independence. Be its main defender and guardian. This is the most reliable support you can provide for yourself. Inner compass, spirituality, and meaning in life. And finally, the sixth pillar, perhaps the deepest, is your inner world, your source of meaning, your personal spirituality. I'm not necessarily talking about religion, although for many, faith is a powerful support. I'm talking about what gives you a sense of connection to something larger, what helps you find meaning in each day. Replace potential feelings of confusion or existential emptiness with the conscious cultivation of your inner core. Meet Robert. He's 78. He had outlived many friends, felt that his generation was passing away. Familiar joys no longer brought the same pleasure as before. He went to church out of habit, but didn't find the same comfort there. Questions arose. Why am I here? What's the point of it all? He was overcome by a feeling of inner emptiness. He was used to always being active, focused on external achievements, and now, as active life slowed down, he faced the need to find support within himself. Robert had always loved nature, but previously, he never had time to just sit and observe. Now, he started going to the park every day, or just sitting by the window, watching the birds, the changing seasons. He began reading philosophical books he had long put off. He started keeping a gratitude journal, writing down 3 things each evening for which he was grateful that day. Gradually, he felt something changing inside. He became calmer, more peaceful. He found his connection to the world through contemplating nature, through reflection, through the practice of gratitude. Physiologically, mindfulness practices, meditation, prayer, or simply quiet contemplation can reduce stress levels, improve emotional regulation. Psychologically, it provides a sense of stability, inner peace, helps cope with loss and difficulties. It's like finding your inner compass, which always points in the right direction, even if there's fog or a storm around. This could be faith, meditation, yoga, creativity, connecting with nature, reading wise books, serving others, anything that fills your soul with meaning and light. Look deep within yourself. What nourishes your soul? What gives you strength? Find and cherish your inner source. This is your unshakable fortress. There they are, the 6 pillars of your independence and well-being after 60. Strong friendships, beloved activities, community involvement, connection with different generations, self-care, and your inner compass. Look, my dear friends, how many resources, how many opportunities you have. You have lived a long, rich life. You have accumulated priceless experience and wisdom. You have every right to joy, to support, to an active and fulfilling life at any age. Family is wonderful, it's important. But by expanding your circle of support, building these additional pillars, you not only make your own life richer and more stable, but you also lift some of the burden from your loved ones, allowing them to live their own lives without guilt. You become stronger, more confident, freer. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to take the first step. Start small, with 1 phone call, 1 visit, 1 hour dedicated to yourself or a new interest. Your happiness and your peace of mind are in your hands. Believe in yourself, in your strengths. You can build a life full of meaning, warmth, and reliable support. You deserve it.